should we get into how the Eagles hate Jalen Hurts? Because I'm
Yes.
writing about this right now and I'm fascinated about this. And I I mean, you've got an interesting spin on the story. I want your spin on this, that the NFL somehow benefits from this sort of acrimony and discord. And then I want a clip of Jordan Mailata, star tackle on the Eagles, I would say meekly damning with faint defense his quarterback. So let's have you give your take first, and then Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, so for the last couple weeks, and honestly, even dating back to last season when he was reading a book about on the sidelines while he wasn't getting targeted, AJ Brown has clearly been dissatisfied with his role in the Eagles offense. He's this immensely talented receiver. He'll go games at a time without even getting targeted, let alone having catches. I was at one of them a week and a half ago in Green
Mm.
Bay, and I was there. My father-in-law, an Eagles fan, and in the second half, we're like, have they thrown to AJ Brown at all? And when you're at a game, I mean, there's a lot of things that suck about being at an NFL game, like these endless breaks. And then if you have to go to the bathroom, you're like stuck behind someone who takes forever. But one of the good parts about going to these games is that you can like just isolate your viewing on one or two players on the field. And so you get to watch AJ Brown run wind sprints with nothing coming his way for 45 minutes at a time and get a sense of like, is he just getting double teamed and blanketed, or like what's going on? Why aren't they even looking at him? And
Mm.
so he is just been making veiled comments about how the offense doesn't work. I don't believe that he's like named Jalen Hurts by name, but it's pretty clear that he is unhappy with the quarterback play on the team. And there's been 1,000 times where this has happened with a wide receiver, but this team is the defending Super Bowl champions and they're 8-2. And so you would think like a lot, like even diva wide receivers would know, look, like, we're winning, I gotta shut up until we lose. But he just keeps doing it after wins. And so this week there was like another clip that circulated where a reporter in Philadelphia, and by the way, the Philadelphia reporters deserve a lot of credit. Like the Philadelphia
Mm.
reporters are who people think the New York reporters are. They will ask very sharp questions to these athletes. So like, yeah, they're 8-2, and the reporter is saying to AJ Brown, like, there are a lot of people that don't think you're the same caliber of player you once were. What do you say to that? And
Mm.
he's like, and his answer was basically like, hey, Saquon Barkley's production is down too. As he
Is I
dropped
guess I guess Saquon ain't the same guy. It was God. It's just sharp out there. It's nasty out there. But you were saying,
yeah, so I mean, I in addition to the fact that it's just like weird that this is happening on an 8-2 defending Super Bowl champion team, I think that this really helps the NFL, these types of stories, because
mm,
you don't see it as much in the NBA where a player is like in the locker room and criticizing it. Like the way it happens in the NBA is we get like a Yahoo Sports story that LaMelo Ball is unhappy with his role. We don't get LaMelo Ball saying that to five different reporters in the locker room or anything.
mm.
And um it just there's just like a never-ending flow of content during an NFL season that you can react to and makes the games themselves more interesting. And I think like because this is happening with the Eagles, it's going to increase how much I pay attention to their games. And I think that it's just it's a very NFL thing. You don't see it in MLB, you don't see it in the NBA. And you got these disgruntled players just speaking candidly.
Yeah, in the NBA, they do the weird thing of hating a guy and then attacking. They attack the outside world for noticing, which maybe you could say that's more honorable because they're sticking up for their teammate. I'm thinking of a young player in particular on Golden State. I think people might be able to read between the lines of who I'm talking about. But to what you're saying, it reminds me of that. It's a quote attributed to Otto von Bismarck. I don't know if he said it. I don't know if anybody said anything these days. There are a million Churchill quotes that he didn't say, but it's God has a special providence for fools, drunkards, and the United States of America. And one of my readers said you could substitute NFL in there because there are things that happen in the NFL that make us go, man, that's why I love the NFL. But if those things happened in the NBA or maybe another sport, we would go, this is exactly why I hate the NBA. I mean, look at these selfish players. They don't even care about winning. They just care about their numbers. I
Yeah,
don't
they
want to
saw
hear about
someone on
this.
like the Thunder doing this,
Yeah.
and they are ripping Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So like that's another thing in the NBA is the salaries are slotted, and so the best and the second best player on each team are some in often cases making like similar amounts of money, and like even the role players, like you'll see some interchangeable widget you've never heard of and he's making 30 million over a year for four, it's like signs a 4 year
Yeah.
$120 million deal, and you're like, I don't think I would recognize that guy if he was like walking down my street wearing his jersey. And so in the NFL though, the salary cap really creates a caste system within the locker room, and these quarterbacks make 50 to 60 million dollars, and then the most a receiver can hope to make is like 40. But you're really competing with your own teammates for these huge deals in a way that isn't necessarily true in the NBA, because you might end up switching cities in the NBA, but the NFL has the franchise tag. And so if you're a first round pick and they hit you with the 5th year option and then franchise tag you twice, it could be 7 years until you're a free agent. And so it's just like a much different system. And I think that the Eagles, they might interpret that like Jalen Hurts is making all this money and he doesn't deserve it. But I get it. I get that they're not moving the ball, but I don't think you can like put a price on the quality of him where if you get to 3rd and 2, it's a first down. No other team has that advantage. And you can say, oh, it's the blocking, but you see him like wiggle around that hole, and you
He's
imagine the physical pain that he must endure to pick up that 1 or 2 yards at a time. And I don't know. I think that they're underrating that element of his game at the very least.
it's quite possible they are. Thomas J says when the sports conflict is between the players, it is good for interest. Want to see the dynamics. When the conflict is more player versus franchise wanting to jump ship, it is player attacking or seeking to leave my team, which is just annoying and a bummer. I think there's something to that. And I think the Eagles are an odd case, especially relative to the NBA, where it's so much about the management. It's so much about the executive. The coach seems replaceable. They won a Super Bowl with a coach, got rid of that coach. They won another Super Bowl. The coach they have doesn't seem to have a lot of power. He seems like a functionary for Howie Roseman. And the quarterback doesn't seem to be all that important either. They've replaced quarterbacks in Philadelphia. It's really more about the team overall. And that gives this sort of conflict a different flavor. Now, the players seem very sick of Jalen Hurts. My God, do they seem sick of Jalen Hurts? I am shocked by the extent they are. I am shocked by the lack of defense they have for him. I want to play this because this floored me from Jordan Mailata. This is an offensive lineman. Your job is to protect your quarterback in all respects, not just on the field. When it was brought up to him that Hurts is getting trashed in the media, I expected something fiery. Let's play this clip from House of Strauss friend Spike Eskin talking to Jordan Mailata. If it is indeed the clip, I think it is.
Report that came out last night from Derek Gunn.
That's Spike.
Longtime Eagles reporter.
Heard about it.
Yeah, that just in case anybody hasn't heard, that there were many people in the building were frustrated with Jalen, and that there were some limitations to what he was doing, that he was going out playing the way that he wanted, so on and so forth. Have you noticed any frustrations with Jalen, his way in or out of the building, or his performance?
I guess we're watching two different clips, two different films. I can't speak on what Derek's saying. If that's what he's saying, I'm not going to sit here and tell him, hey, how dare you?
Sure.
Hey, he's how long has he been part of the media?
G-Gun?
Long time.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
a couple of decades.
Not gonna lie, he's like the Mount Rushmore of Eagles.
So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, that's what he sees.
Well,
I don't see it. I know how much work Jalen puts into this, and so, I just have to. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't know how to address that.
Sure.
I'll be honest. I don't know how to address that.
Well, that aside, I guess my question would also be, I guess really to both you guys.
Okay. I think we get the sense. We can pull the clip. Media. This is what I'm writing about. Media literacy is what I call it, because I see a lot of Eagles fans attacking any media members, attacking any media figures like Derek Gunn, for instance, for saying that behind the scenes there's discord and the players have issues with Jalen and perhaps his inability to get through progressions and do certain plays. And if it weren't true, you would see such a defense. You would see such a defense, passionate defense. You know what it is. You know what's happening when you see stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say that this is just so stunning to me, and I can't believe that it's happening, but I think it mirrors what we used to see with the Seahawks and Russell Wilson, where the defense thought that they were responsible for this. And, Wilson was kind of similar to Jalen Hurts in that he would struggle for these long swaths of time, but then in crunch time, just magically pick up some of these first downs with his legs and get them out of trouble and come through when he absolutely needed to. But if you're, a player on the defense who's playing great the whole game and keeping your team in the game for long enough for him to finally pull a rabbit out of the hat, you might see it a little bit differently from, some guy on his couch who just watches a lot of football.
It is crazy when you look back, when you take a step back from it, 30,000 foot view. This is the reigning Super Bowl MVP. This is the leading team in the NFC. As you said, they're 8-2. And
even good teams, if you had to pick anyone to come out of the NFC, it should be them.
Yeah. They're I guess favored to win the Super Bowl. I haven't checked the odds, but that would be my assumption. And his teammates are trashing him. It's not even just superficially that the statistics are all that bad. They've struggled to score. They scored only 16 points the last 2 games, but I mean, generally speaking, a quarterback of the stature, there's a sense that, hey, you have down games, you have bad games, and we'll get it together. Instead, it appears that the offense has this dynamic like the defense, that we've got this great running game, but our quarterback is somebody we're dragging around and he's an albatross. And so it's sort of amusing for me to follow from afar, because I can tell. Plus, I just hear I hear rumors through the grapevine. I don't cover the NFL, but I have a lot of friends in NFL media, and it's worse even behind the scenes versus what's being reported. And yet you're always going to have that fan contingent because you've got an emotional attachment to Jalen Hurts, and you've been defending him against other fan bases trashing him, and he wins the Super Bowl. And he finishes 19th in the NFL top 100. And so now you're dug in that this is all some vast media conspiracy, and any reporter saying anything is clickbait. It ain't clickbait. I mean, that's real. That's as real as it gets.
Yeah, they're going after Derek Gunn, and they've been going after Diana Rossini. And, there is this tribal aspect of fans that just think that the reporters are blocking the aggregate mission of winning, as opposed to recognizing that their job isn't to help the team win. It's to tell the truth about what's happening and then let the chips fall where they may.